Okay, I'm going to show you today how to go about making calendar events in a spreadsheet and then uploading them to Google Calendar. This is a handy way of managing a lot of different dates. So if you have hundreds of dates, say for SOLs, throughout the course of the school year, and you want to put them on a calendar, that's a very tedious process. Also, say you have a snow day or snow week, and you need to move all of your dates out a few days. Again, it can be tedious, but if you do it in a spreadsheet, it's really quick and easy, especially once you've set the whole thing up, to just go about making tweaks or changes. The other nice thing is once it's in Google Calendar, you can share it out to people in your department or just other teachers that you work with collaboratively. Or if you want to print a copy of your calendar, it's a really nice way. If you know your administration or an instructional specialist needs a copy or wants a hard copy, it looks clean and professional. So I'm just going to start. I'm going to title this column Start Date. You need to be mindful of the column titles because Google recognizes certain titles. So you need to use start date, and we'll go with the beginning of the school year, 9/3/13. And if you click and drag, you can go through. I'm going to go down to, we'll say May, um, around May, end of May, when SOL should be over. So we've got our dates, and I'm going to change the formatting because it's a little easier to work with when we do this editing. I'm going to go to Custom. I'm going to change it to, if you'll type day, DDD, you'll get Tuesday, and I want the month to show as September, and then the day again numerically. So Tuesday, September the 3rd, and so that makes it more readable and easier for me to use. I'm going to copy the formatting and I'm going to apply it to the entire column. I want to get all my Saturdays and Sundays out of this column. Um, it would be nice if I could sort alphabetically by Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but it won't let me do that. It still recognizes these as dates and numbers, so I need to pull out the days of the week. I'm going to use a formula called weekday, and I'm going to call on cell B2, and the return type, that's just telling when to start the work, when to start the first day of the week. It doesn't really matter what number you use. Um, I'm going to double click and it fills my entire column down, and you can see that now all my Sundays are 7s and all my Saturdays are 6s. So now I can sort based on column A to Z, and now, or let's just do Z to A, and now I've got my Saturdays and Sundays at the top. I can go ahead and delete them out, and now I've got a workday calendar. I'm going to go ahead and delete out this column. I don't need it anymore. I'll go ahead and sort this column back to ascending so that we start with September 3rd again. I'm going to put another column in front, and now I'm going to label this column subject, and this will be what shows up on your Google Calendar. So say you were going to go get a haircut, it would show on your calendar a haircut for September 3rd, of all-day event. If you want, you can go actually and get the other headings, so start times, end times, things like that. So you can populate all of those fields if you wanted to or needed to. So maybe for a remediation schedule where you actually did have start times and end times for kids to come to you, including location, so room numbers, things like that. And I can post a template. I'll attach it to this posting so that you can download it. You have the full template available. So my subjects are going to be SOL, so this will be SOL 6.1, and I'm going to drag down and create the rest of my SOLs. There's a few other ways that you could do this a little faster, but just for the sake of keeping this tutorial short, I'm going to just kind of do it a more tedious way. Day one would just be something like day one, probably wouldn't be an SOL, just kind of an intro. And then since it's block scheduling, you're going to do the same thing for the second day, and then maybe day two would be a pre-test. and then the same thing for your next day, and maybe then you get into SOLs. And just say you started with SOL 6.4, so you just start putting your SOLs in. You'd probably be toggling back and forth in between this and your pacing guide, or maybe you just know them um, by heart. And say you spent maybe 3 days on SOL 6.4, and then you're going to do 6.5, and you spend maybe it's a 1-day SOL, and then 6.11, maybe it's 2 days. And you could add more detail to this if you wanted. You could give, the titles or the topics, integers, whatever the case may be. You can also go in, well, let me just go ahead and fill the rest of the calendar. So I'm just going to use these and put them in here, and just fill the rest of the way down randomly so that we have events. Oops. Okay, so we filled our calendar all the way out with our SOLs. And of course, before you did that, you'd want to go in and look at, December, say, and your winter break, and you'd want to have gone in and put, winter break, something like that. Or you could alternately just delete out, and you wouldn't have anything insert on those days. While it might seem kind of tedious up front, once you've got all of this set out, I'm going to roughly be going through the SOLs in a similar fashion next year. Roughly the same number of days on each SOL, roughly the same order, so it really just requires some tweaking. It'll be a little faster. And then for the dates, that's really a quick and easy process of generating them and putting them side by side. So you've really got your full school year fleshed out. And you need to go ahead and change the formatting. Actually, Google Calendar won't like this format, so change it back to a date format, just a generic date format. And you can copy that formatting with the paintbrush, and you can apply it to the entire column. So now it is truly good to go. I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it in my downloads folder, and I'll save it test pacing calendar. Oh, and I forgot one crucial thing. I saved it as a Excel file, and what I needed to do was to save it as not Excel, but a CSV file. This is just kind of a universal format used for moving spreadsheets around in between different software. So I'm going to save it as a CSV file, and it's telling me that I might lose some functionality or features, and that's fine. And now I'm going to toggle over to my calendar. This is just a generic Google account that I created for this tutorial. It doesn't have any of my personal data on it. This is John Doe. This is the primary calendar. This is kind of a big deal. You don't want to upload to your primary calendar. If you did that, if you uploaded, 100, 200 events, and then, you wanted to change it, well, you have to go back and delete each event manually. There might be a couple of workarounds, but it would just be kind of tedious and obnoxious problem. You can easily avoid that by going into your settings and creating another calendar. So just create a calendar that you're going to use for pacing, and then whenever you want to change it, you can just delete it and add back a new one. So calendar name, I'll just say pacing calendar. Create the calendar, and now underneath of my calendars, I've got a pacing calendar. Go into your other calendars, and you have an option to import a calendar. Why don't you, before you even do anything else, change it from your primary calendar to your pacing calendar. Make sure you don't use your primary calendar. Choose File, and I want my test pacing calendar that I just created. And this is my CSV CSV file. Whoops. Make sure you got the CSV version. Import, and we should get some calendar events. And we got 186 events that we created. And again, they would be a pain to delete out manually if you had to. If I need to get rid of these, I can just delete the calendar. So I've got all of my events on here. Your winter break, you can turn that calendar on or off. So if you're looking at your personal calendar and you want to look at where you are in your pacing, you turn it on. You could again share that calendar out to other teachers or folks in your department. The other option is more and print. If you want to print this or you want to save it, you could save it as a PDF, and now you've got a nice copy of your pacing calendar. And also when you go into print, you do have options for changing the size of the words and things like that. So you can blow stuff up a little bit. And of course you could put your pacing on there with your remediation calendar and have them overlap if that was helpful. And then one other thing, if you had snow, say, on a certain day, and you had to change your pacing, you needed to just basically slide it all down a few days. And maybe you have to delete out a couple of days here and there. And then you might want to go back and label it snow. So when you re-upload this to a new calendar, your revised pacing calendar, you'd know why you didn't have SOLs there. So that is everything. I hope that that's been helpful. If you have any questions, you can post a question or a comment on the blog under the blog posting, and I can respond back to it. So that's it.